Okay, your success is determined by how many people say yes. Pressure, payments, people, problems, progress. This is the life of being self-employed. On a personal level, this has been the experience. Welcome to another episode of Self-Employed Success Secrets, Wednesday edition. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the life of being self-employed and how if you can handle these 5 aspects, you're probably going to do well being self-employed. We're talking about pressure, payments, people, problems, and progress. Okay, let's first talk about pressure. Today, or this week, or let's go to yesterday. Yesterday, I received 2 urgent emails to get stuff done. When you're self-employed, you're going to have a lot of pressure put on you. And pressure is tantamount to being poked. Hey, do this, do that, do this. We need this now. Here's that. And it can be galling and it can be stress-inducing, and how you deal with that stress determines a lot. It even determines how much money you're going to make. Usually the more stress, the more money you'll bring in. But do you want to carry the weight of always having to get something done? As the business has grown and more money has come in, you learn that you just have to deal with stress. You have to deal with the responsibility of something being right. So there's a lot of pressure being self-employed. And you gotta be careful with pressure, because another word for pressure is stress. And if you don't handle stress well, you can end up dying, like literally, like your life ending because you can't handle the stress. So one thing is be able to handle the stress. And always remember, we talked about this in a previous video, that what you become comfortable with becomes your destiny. Okay, you gotta be comfortable with stress. That's one of the first things you gotta know about being self-employed, is that you gotta be able to handle the pressure of getting work done, the pressure of doing things on time in a timely manner, the pressure of doing things correctly. Okay, this video is meant to give you an insight on what life is being self-employed. The next is payments. Okay, with that pressure comes money coming in. Okay, and the subtext of this video is that there's a lot of good and there's a lot of bad that comes with being self-employed. No, if you can't handle a lot of pressure and responsibility, I would not be self-employed. From different directions, I wouldn't do it. If you can't sit knowing that something may not be perfect and you got to fix it, if you don't know how to keep track of a lot of details, if your brain just doesn't work that way, don't do it. Okay, but let's talk about payments. All right, the thing about being self-employed is that a lot of payments can come in. If you're a W-2 worker, you're probably going to get paid 52 or 26 times a year, or 24. Okay, you get paid weekly, bi-weekly, or bi-monthly. Okay, bi-weekly is every 2 weeks, bi-monthly is twice a month. And there is a difference, because one of them, bi-weekly, you get paid 26 paychecks versus getting paid 24. Okay, when you're self-employed, you can get paid 100 times in a year. You can get paid 200 times. You get paid 3,000 times a year. You can get paid 5 times in a year. Okay, the payments are nice, and the bridge to payments, it's not as high as being a W-2 worker. Also, stay tuned for the video for a surprise. So we talked about pressure, payments, and we're going to talk about people. Now, the crux of what you're doing is going to come down to people. Okay, your success is determined by how many people say yes to what you're offering. Okay, I'll say it again. Your success is determined by how many people say yes to what you're offering. So you've got to pick the right people to sell to. Okay, the right people to work with, the right people. I haven't hired anybody yet, but the right people to hire, the right people to learn from. Okay, you want to learn from successful people. So people are the crux. If you don't get the people part right, you're going to suffer greatly. If you don't know how to work with people, if you can't defer. When you're self-employed, you have to learn how to defer. Okay, the only power you have is when it comes to getting paid. Saying, hey, I did the work, pay me. Okay, so we talked about, so be careful with the people you bring. You want to bring in people who have the same vision, values, and complementary qualities, okay? Don't just bring in people who are just there to take. Also, to make sure you're the right person for other people. It's not all about you. Make sure you're the right fit. You're the right person for what people need. Can you do the job? You know, and can you get along? And usually, can you get along is way more important of a question than can you do the job. Many people can do the job, a lot of people can't get along. Okay, so make sure you're the right person and you work with the right people. All right, next, we talked about pressure, we talked about payments, we talked about people, and next is problems. Okay, when you're self-employed, you're gonna have a lot of problems. Things you've never experienced before that you have to Google a lot. You have to go off your intuition a lot. Now, you can't lie. I'm not saying make stuff up, but sometimes you're gonna have to make estimations. That you just don't know what's happening. You don't have all the information, but you just have an inkling, an inference towards something, and you make it happen. Okay, so when you're self-employed, you're gonna face grieving problems where it's just like, this is a morass, it's complicated and confusing. And that's why people give you money. People will willingly give you money if you are solving problems for them. Like, if you got a leak in your bathroom and it's really bothering you, you're disquieted by it. That plumber, you're paying for a problem. Remember, people are going to pay for problems. They're paying for you to be a firefighter. A lot of self-employment is being a firefighter. So put those fires out, okay? Now the next is, let's talk about progress. Okay, being self-employed, you're gonna learn about yourself in ways that if you just work at a job, you won't. Because you are the first and the last line of defense. There's nothing barricading you from the elements. It's you. And so you learn a lot about yourself. Like, I've been doing this for about 6 years now. And from what I know, from the beginning to what I know now, there's a lot of things where I can tell if I meet someone, I can tell we work well together. This is just learned experience. That's what I mean by progress. You know, you can see progress, pecuniary progress, seeing your bank account go up. You can see progress in how you handle stress. It's a beautiful thing to see and learn and know that. I don't think I have the anxiety that I used. I didn't have a ton of anxiety, but I have a lot more confidence based on studying things to know how to do it through experience. And so that's helpful. But this is truly a profile, a look into what it's like being self-employed. Okay, pressure, payments, people, problems, progress. Okay, there's a lot of good being self-employed. Freedom. Okay. There's a lot, but there's a lot of bad that comes with being self-employed, is that you're often forgotten. You're usually the last person to get paid on someone's payroll. Okay, a lot of times you're underpaid, you're underappreciated. I mean, W-2 employees are underappreciated too, but they're paid on time at a regular schedule. You're not. And you still have to deal with having to pay your own payments. Okay, so it's a journey for someone who can take a lot of pain, but is willing to bet on themselves for a dream. That's what being self-employed is, the best people that it's for. If you're willing to give your personal comfort, and it's your personal conviction to reach your dreams in life, your financial dreams. Because if you look at most people who are achieving their dreams, it's people who are self-employed. The people you look up to in the world who are doing stuff are self-employed. They're not working for somebody. But it's if you can't handle uncertainty and danger, in a sense, danger in terms of being exposed, I wouldn't be self-employed. You probably might get too scared. A lot of people, it gets too hard and they quit. I've known a few people who have started self-employment and they just said, man, I've seen people literally die because of the stress of self-employment. Literally, like they're dead right now because of the stress of just life and self-employment. And I've seen people quit. I've seen people get really hot starts and give up. I've seen people break up with their partners. But yeah, this is a true insight into being self-employed. Pressure, payments, people, problems, progress. And if you can take something from this video, understand that being self-employed is a dream. It's a dream come true in itself. And if you approach it the right way, you can win. But just remember, as you're on your journey, you're gonna have all 5 of these things and more. This is not comprehensive, but that's the foundation. That's the basal of being self-employed, is those 5 things. I would add that purpose. It's a purpose-driven thing versus just showing up to work and you punch a clock. But this leads to our next surprise, and this comes from a roommate from college. He said it all the time. It's funny how when you're around people that say something all the time that it just gets stuck in your brain. He said, you gotta take the good with the bad in life. And that's the same with being self-employed. There's gonna be a lot of bad. You're not gonna get paid. You're gonna work with people that just seem like they wanna make your life hell. But there's a lot of good too. You can set your own hours. You can set your own payments. You don't have to deal with bullshit. There's not really any politics. Being self-employed just is. But yeah, self-employed is great, but it comes with some massive problems. But it's okay if you can handle it. But that's all for today's video. And lastly, as always, unsuccessful people make decisions based on current situations, but you hopefully make decisions based on where you want to be. Okay, bye.